The studio lights burn white hot above Stage 6B at NBC Burbank. It's May 1982, just past 11:30 p.m. and America is watching. Johnny Carson leans back in his chair, mid-laugh, his signature suit jacket perfectly pressed. Across from him sits Tony Curtis, Hollywood royalty in a charcoal three-piece hair slicked back like the leading man he's always been. The audience is eating it up. Curtis just finished a story about Marilyn Monroe. Something charming and nostalgic. The kind of anecdote that makes people forget how long ago the golden age really was. Johnny grins. Tony, you've got more stories than Curtis's hand shoots to the armrest. His fingers dig into the leather hard. Johnny's smile falters just slightly, but the camera catches it. Curtis's face drains of color, not slowly, but all at once, like someone pulled a plug. His chest heaves. His eyes go distant. The audience doesn't know yet. A few people shift in their seats. Someone coughs. Then Tony Curtis slumps forward. Not dramatically. Not like the movies. Just down. His body folds. His head drops toward his knees and his hand slips off the armrest entirely. The studio goes silent. Johnny is out of his chair before the audience gasps. His microphone hits the desk with a dull thud. He's on his knees beside Curtis in 2 seconds, one hand on his shoulder, the other reaching for his wrist. Tony, look at me. Doc Severinsen stands from the band section, trumpet still in hand, frozen mid-note. Johnny's head snaps toward the booth. His voice cuts through the silence like a blade. Get a doctor now. The red recording light blinks off. The cameras keep rolling for 3 more seconds, just long enough to capture Johnny's face, stripped of every ounce of performance, raw and terrified, then black. Stay with me. What happens next changed both their lives forever. To understand that night, you have to go back not just days or weeks, years, decades even. Johnny Carson wasn't born on a soundstage. He came from Norfolk, Nebraska, a quiet kid who learned early that humor was armor. By 1982, he'd been hosting The Tonight Show for 20 years. 20 years of 5 shows a week, of reading the room, of being the last voice America heard before sleep. He was untouchable, reliable, the king who never cracked in public. But kingship is lonely. Behind the desk, Johnny was brilliant. Away from it, he was distant. 3 marriages down. A drinker who never drank on camera. A man who could make 30 million people laugh and still go home to an empty house in Malibu, wondering if any of it mattered. Tony Curtis knew that feeling. Born Bernard Schwartz in the Bronx, Curtis grew up poor. Really poor. His parents spoke Hungarian. His father was a Tor. Bernard learned English in the streets, learned to fight in the alleys, learned to charm his way out of everything else. Hollywood didn't want Bernard Schwartz, so he became Tony Curtis. He became Spartacus. Some like it hot. The pretty boy who could actually act. But by 1982, the phone wasn't ringing as much. The marriages, 6 of them, had all ended. The money was gone. The roles dried up. And the pills. The pills were easier than admitting any of it. Curtis needed this Tonight Show appearance. Not for fun, for survival. Johnny knew at the moment Tony walked through the curtain, he saw the sweat on Curtis's forehead under the lights, the forced brightness in his laugh, the way his hands wouldn't stay still. Johnny had seen that look before. He'd seen it in the mirror. Before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. Now, let's get back to that night. So, Tony, Johnny says, settling back into his chair after the commercial break. I hear you're painting now. Curtis lights up. It's the first real smile of the night. Oh, Johnny. It's the only honest thing I do anymore. His voice is softer now. Almost vulnerable. You stand in front of a canvas and it doesn't care if you were in a Hitchcock film. It doesn't care if you're Tony Curtis or Bernie Schwartz. It just is. Johnny nods slowly. He understands more than Curtis knows. That's beautiful, Tony. Really. Thank you. A pause. Not awkward. Present. Then Johnny leans forward, elbows on the desk. You've reinvented yourself so many times. How do you keep going? Curtis's smile flickers just for a second. He opens his mouth, closes it. His eyes dart to the audience, then back to Johnny. He's sweating more now. The studio lights feel like interrogation lamps. His laugh is too loud. You just do, Johnny. You just keep moving. But his hand grips the armrest again, tighter this time. Johnny sees it. He shifts in his seat, ready to pivot the conversation to save him the way he saved 100 floundering guests before. Tony, you all right? Curtis nods quickly. Too quickly. Yeah, I'm fine. Just his breath catches, his eyes widen, and then without warning, without drama, Tony Curtis goes silent. His body sags forward, his head dips, his hand releases the armrest, and falls limp at his side. The audience gasps. Johnny is moving before anyone else even registers what's happening. What you're about to hear next will break your heart. Keep watching. Johnny's knees hit the floor hard. He doesn't feel it. His hands are on Curtis's shoulders, shaking him gently. Tony, stay with me. Curtis's eyelids flutter. His lips move, but no sound comes out. Doc Severson is beside them now, crouching, his face pale. Should I get a doctor? Johnny snaps. His voice is steady, but his hands are trembling. Now, Doc, right now, the audience is frozen. A few people stand. A woman in the third row covers her mouth. Ed McMahon rushes from backstage, tie loosened, eyes wide. Johnny, call an ambulance. Tell them it's urgent. Ed disappears. Johnny loosens Curtis's tie. Checks his pulse at the neck. It's there. Faint, but there. Curtis's eyes open halfway, unfocused, glassy. I'm sorry, Curtis whispers. His voice is broken, childlike. I'm so sorry, Johnny. Don't. Johnny says firmly. Don't apologize. Just breathe. Breathe with me. Okay. Curtis nods weakly. Behind them, a producer is yelling into a headset. Cut transmission. Cut it now. We're not airing this. The cameras go dark, but Johnny doesn't move. 6 minutes later, paramedics arrive. They load Curtis onto a stretcher, strapping him in with practice deficiency. Johnny stands, his suit jacket wrinkled, his stage makeup smudged. I'm coming with him, Johnny says. The lead paramedic blinks. Sir, you don't have to. I'm coming. In the ambulance, Curtis is conscious, but dazed. An oxygen mask covers his face. Johnny sits across from him, hands clasped, staring at the floor. Curtis pulls the mask down slightly. Why? Why are you here? Johnny looks up. His eyes are tired, sad, human. Because I've been where you are, Tony. Not exactly, but close enough. Curtis's eyes fill with tears. Johnny doesn't look away. If this story is hitting you emotionally, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you'll want to see how this ends. Cedar Sinai Medical Center. 3:47 a.m. The fluorescent lights humbly. Johnny Carson sits in a plastic chair beside Tony Curtis's hospital bed, still wearing his stage clothes. His tie is draped over the armrest. His collar is unbuttoned. He looks older than he ever has on camera. Curtis stirs. His eyes blink open slowly, adjusting to the dim light. The first thing he sees is Johnny slumped in the chair, staring at nothing. Johnny's head lifts. He exhales, something like relief crossing his face. Hey, what? What time is it? Late or early? Depends how you look at it. Curtis tries to sit up. Winces. Johnny stands quickly, helping him adjust the pillow. Easy. Doctor said you need rest. Curtis laughs bitterly. Rest, right? He glances at the 4 in his arm, the monitors beeping softly. What did they say? Dehydration, malnutrition, and Johnny pauses. A dangerous mix of medications. Curtis closes his eyes. So they know. Yeah. Silence. Then Curtis's voice cracks. Why are you still here, Johnny? You don't owe me anything. Johnny sits back down. He stares at his hands for a long moment. I told you in the ambulance. I've been where you are. Curtis looks at him confused. Johnny continues, his voice quieter now. Not the pills. Not exactly, but the feeling like you're performing every second of your life, and if you stop, even for a moment, you'll disappear. Curtis's throat tightens. I know what it's like to smile for millions of people and feel completely alone. Johnny says to wonder if anyone would care about you if you weren't funny. If you weren't useful. A tear rolls down Curtis's cheek. He doesn't wipe it away. I just wanted to matter again, Johnny. His voice breaks. I just wanted to feel like I still mattered. Johnny leans forward. He grips Curtis's hand, firm, grounding. You matter right now, Tony. Not as the movie star. Not as Tony Curtis. As Bernard Schwartz from the Bronx. Just you right here. That's enough. Curtis so quietly at first, then harder, his shoulders shaking. Johnny doesn't let go. They sit like that until the sun rises. Two men who spent their lives performing vulnerability, finally being genuinely vulnerable. This is the part of the story nobody talks about. Stay with me. There's something beautiful coming. The next night, The Tonight Show airs a simple card. Due to unforeseen circumstances, last night's episode will not be broadcast. Our thoughts are with our friend Tony Curtis. No explanation, no drama, just dignity. Behind the scenes, Johnny Carson does something no one expects. He calls Tony Curtis every single day for 3 months. Not for ratings, not for publicity, just to check in. How you doing today, Tony? Better. Still here. Good. That's all that matters. Curtis enters rehab 2 weeks after the collapse. It's not easy. Some days he wants to leave. Some days he thinks it's pointless. But every evening at 6 p.m. the phone rings and Johnny's voice is there. Still here, Tony. Still here, Johnny. Years later, Curtis tells Barbara Walters, Johnny saved my life. Not by being a hero. By being a friend when I had none left. Johnny never talks about it publicly. It's too personal, too. But people close to him notice changes. He starts checking in on other guests who seem fragile. Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, Judy Garland's daughter, Lorna Luft. He creates an informal network, entertainers helping entertainers quietly without cameras. He stops performing as much in his personal life. He starts being present. One night, years later, Johnny's producer asks him, "Why do you still do this? You could retire tomorrow." Johnny looks out at the empty studio, the chairs, the desk, the lights. Because sometimes, he says softly, showing up is the only thing that matters. If you've ever felt like you didn't matter, this next part is for you. Keep watching. Here's the truth that night revealed. Success doesn't protect you from yourself. Fame doesn't fill the holes inside. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop performing and start being real. Tony Curtis lived another 28 years after that night. 28 years he almost didn't have. He painted canvases filled with color and chaos and beauty that came from somewhere deeper than Hollywood ever reached. He loved messy, complicated human love. He made peace with his demons, not perfectly, not completely, but honestly. He told his children things he'd never said before. He apologized to people he'd hurt. He stopped chasing the spotlight and started chasing meaning. And he never forgot what Johnny did. Not the public version. Not the hero narrative people wanted to write. The quiet one, the 3 a.m. version, the version that didn't make headlines or win awards. The version that just showed up day after day with a simple question. Still here. Still here, Johnny. That's what saved him. Not the grand gesture, the small, consistent one. Johnny Carson retired in 1992. By then, he'd hosted over 4,500 episodes. He'd interviewed presidents, movie stars, musicians, authors, astronauts, activists. He'd made America laugh for 30 years straight. He'd become an institution, a ritual, a constant in a changing world. But in his final interview before his death in 2005, a reporter asked him the question everyone asked legends. What was your proudest moment on The Tonight Show? The reporter expected stories. The time he had every living president on one episode. The sketch that broke the internet before the internet existed. The Emmy Awards lined up on his shelf. Johnny paused. He looked out the window of his Malibu home toward the ocean, toward something the reporter couldn't see. Then he said something that didn't make sense to most people. The nights when I remembered were all just people trying to make it through. Not the performances, not the ratings, not the fame. The nights when he remembered to be human. Because here's what Hollywood will never teach you. What the entertainment industry doesn't want you to know. The cameras capture performances. But humanity happens in the moments between action and cut. In the ambulance rides, no one films. The hospital chairs, no one photographs. The 3 a.m. confessions. No one records. The daily phone calls no one sees. The quiet acts of showing up when it would be easier to walk away. That's where real connection lives. That's where we stop being icons, celebrities, content creators, influencers, brands, and start being human. That's where life actually happens. Not on the stage, not under the lights, not in front of the audience, but in the margins, in the silence, in the spaces where no one's watching and you choose to care anyway. Johnny Carson understood that. Tony Curtis learned it. And maybe, just maybe, it's the most important lesson any of us will ever learn. Hit subscribe if this story moved you. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. If you're watching this and you feel like Tony Curtis felt that night, invisible, exhausted, wondering if you still matter, hear this. You matter right now. Not the version of you that performs for others. Not the highlight reel. Not the persona you wear to survive. Not the smile you paste on at work. Not the I'm fine you tell everyone who asks. The real you, the tired you, the struggling you, the version that cries in the shower. The version that questions everything at 2 a.m. The version that feels like giving up. That version matters most. Because that's the version that's honest. That's the version that's human. And humanity, raw, unfiltered, imperfect humanity is what connects us all. Johnny Carson and Tony Curtis taught us something Hollywood didn't want us to know. Our value isn't in our productivity, our fame, or our ability to entertain. It's not measured in applause, followers, or paychecks. It's in our willingness to be human with each other. Especially when it's hard, especially when it's scary. Especially when every instinct tells us to hide. We live in a world that celebrates the highlight reel. The success stories, the comebacks, but nobody talks about the collapse, the moment before the comeback, the hospital room at 3 a.m. The phone call that saves a life. So reach out. Check in on someone. Send that text you've been putting off. Make that call. Be the Johnny Carson in someone's 3 a.m. moment. The person who shows up not because it's convenient, but because it's necessary. And if you need help, ask for it. There's no shame in collapsing. We all do eventually. The weight gets too heavy. The mask gets too exhausting. The performance becomes unbearable. The shame is in staying down when hands are reaching to lift you up. Tony Curtis collapsed on stage in 1982 in front of millions. At his lowest point, but he got back up. Not because he was strong, not because he was brave, not because he had willpower or determination or any of those words we use to make struggle sound noble. He got back up because someone stayed. Johnny stayed in that hospital chair. He made those phone calls. He showed up when cameras weren't watching. When there was no audience. No applause. No reward except knowing another human being wouldn't face the darkness alone. That's the legacy. Not the jokes. Not the interviews, not the fame, the staying. Let me know in the comments what's one way you'll show up for someone this week who needs to know they matter. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. It might save someone's life.